Yo, 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 what's up, my wrestling peeps? It's Eric here, your boy, of course, always on the mix. Just, hope you guys had an absolutely lovely week. It's been pretty crazy and pretty hectic for me. I know it's around May, so a lot of people might have maybe like certain people graduating and stuff like that. It's honestly, May is definitely one of my most favorite months of the year, solely because, I'm graduating next week, so I'm pretty excited about that. I also remember like when I was younger and I graduated high school and I'm like, oh my God, that seems like such a long time ago. But also you have May birthdays, the weather's changing. So it's just honestly, May is definitely, they made that song about I've got sunshine in a cloudy day. And he's like, oh, I got the month of May. And it's true. Honestly, probably the best day is probably I'm gonna have this. The best month is probably going to have to be May, but that's just my opinion. Dropping the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net with tell me your favorite month. Who knows? Maybe it might be different. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today lined up for the first time in this podcast history. We will have 5 segments instead of 4. First one, we're going to talk about our Thursday Night Wrestling review. Second one, we're going to talk about WWE SmackDown a little bit. Third one, we're going to go on to WWE is booming all over the world. So we're going to talk about, why and how WWE has kind of become like the greatest professional wrestling sports like spectacle in the world. And then we're going to move on to kind of this, kind of like a dorky little, the ultimate King of the Ring, where I'm going to take 16 past WWE/WWF King of the Ring winners, ultimately kind of put them in like a Sweet 16, kind of like what I did with the wrestling factions. As you know, we're going to narrow it down. Today, we will, we're just going to introduce everybody. We're not going to get right on into it just yet. But, definitely promise you guys we will. So today we're just kind of introducing all the participants. And lastly, like what I like to do on Fridays is give you guys the wrestling news roundup. Give you guys some wrestling news to kind of go into the weekend, kind of think about, kind of ponder and stuff like that. So, yeah, and just to remind you guys, we get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So please ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of people. Use the tips and the donation link at the GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. Let's put your questions up on top so I can see it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to talk about as the audience. Give me your predictions. What do you want to see on SmackDown? Who do you think is the best King of the Ring participant in the history of the WWF? Why do you think WWE is so successful all over the world? Things like that. Definitely love an audience. Definitely love to get to know each other, because we're all wrestling fans. We're, living in, we will always be a family in terms of like professional wrestling. So, like I said, just put your questions up on top, and it really, really does help the show, guys. We love peace, love, and positivity at the GSMC Sports Network. It really helps the show. Again, the link is the GSMC, podcast.net. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right on into our Thursday Night Wrestling review. It was a good one. Ring of Honor and TNA Impact. On May 9th, 2024. I think it's kind of cool that you kind of have the independent. Like, well, I don't think they would really be considered as independent, but you kind of have those strong shows. They're kind of like on their own. I know Ring of Honor is kind of like a sister, kind of like a sister brand or promotion to AEW, and then TNA you kind of have on. The jump in and out of relationships professionally with AEW. Sometimes you'll see the TNA Impact champion. It's kind of crazy how you saw Jordan Grace being how she joined the WWE Royal Rumble. I thought that was crazy. The moment I saw her, I was like, dude, like, what is going on? Is that forbidden door finally open? Is it like an open door policy now so we can all like come together as wrestling fans as opposed to like, oh, if you're a TNA fan, you should hate WWE, or if you're a WWE fan, you should hate AEW, or if you're an AEW fan, you should look down on WWE because they've wasted so much talent. I'm not saying that that's not a viable argument or legitimate as well, because honestly, I think the same way that if WWE didn't like basically F up some of these guys' bookings when they got called up from NXT, like I said before, we had Malachi Black, we had, Keith Lee, and we had Andrade. Andrade, eventually made it back to the WWE roster. But before then, you're like, man, I kind of, I miss these guys. I really honestly miss these guys. So, definitely, yeah, something to get into. So let's go ahead and start. Um, so we saw Taya Valkyrie and Diamante Mercedes Martinez defeated Lady Frost, Layla Hirsch, and Abaddon. We also saw Anthony Ogogo with Shane Taylor Promotions defeating Zicky Dice. I like the name Zicky Dice. Zicky Dice. I think that's actually pretty badass. We had Kyrie Hogan defeating Ashley D'Ambrose. That's kind of D'Ambrosia, maybe. We have Lance Archer and the Righteous defeat Nikki A, Tom Mars, and Lee. Ring of Honor Women's Television Champion Billy Starks with Athena defeated the Dream Girl Ellie in a proving ground match. We all kind of saw that coming. I love Billy Starks. I think the world of her. I think definitely she's going to be definitely one of the best ones. I would like to see her and Athena go at it. I know right now they kind of have that MIT, like, it's cool and everything, but pretty soon I would kind of like to see those two girls go at it because, they're two of the top competitors in the professional wrestling industry. And from a guy who absorbs a lot of wrestling content, I'm not just talking the wrestling industry in terms of like Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling. No, 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 no. I'm talking about like we have WWE and AEW as well. So I like how these girls are kind of putting their name on the map solely based on their capabilities of putting on a great show and being good champions. Absolutely, 100%. And then we saw the Spanish Announce Project and Helico and Serpentico defeat Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. So, definitely, pretty cool. You also saw the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Undisputed Kingdom, kind of, do what they had to do. Still, I think they're going to fight Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Angs. Obviously, they got challenged and stuff like that. So that's kind of going to be the next at the pay-per-view coming up for Ring of Honor. But all right, so let's go ahead and move on to our TNA Impact. TNA Impact results of May 9th, 2024. So yeah, so it looks like the system is absolutely running rampant all over in Impact Wrestling. You have Moose, and then you have the tag team guys, the system. So you saw the first class against FBI. I honestly love FBI because I remember seeing them in WWE or WWF back when they were kind of being brought up back during their young days. I thought, FBI, I think TNA Impact is a pretty good place for them. Definitely would love to see them kind of step up and kind of be a little more, but honestly, they're at that age, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, that they should get some bookings and they'll probably feel a little complacent. I know shooting for the trios championship or the six match, and well, now it's unified. I think, obviously you want to go for the gold. 110% all the way. You want to try to like be all you can be as a wrestler. And even as a booking or even as the organization from a Ring of TNA Impact and stuff like that, like you can't really like, I don't know, you can't really just lie down. And I'm not trying to say that that's what FBI is trying to do, and I'm not trying to say that that's what creative writers are, sabotaging the FBI. No, 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 I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just it's kind of nice to see wrestlers just do what they love to do, be passionate. Obviously, everyone can't be champion. Everyone can't be champion, and for that kind of sucks. But maybe down the line, FBI could work, to the point where they can find themselves in a good position. Next, you saw the Rascals against Jake Something and Cody Deaner. I love Jake Something. Definitely thought that he was going to I think he fought the Laredo Kid for the Digital Media Championship. Don't quote me on that. At Under Siege, but ultimately saw the Rascals defeating Jake Something and Cody Deaner. I kind of didn't really want to see. I didn't want to see that, but I feel like he's going to make a comeback. I feel like you haven't seen the end of Jake Something because he's a young guy. He's a young talent. And if TNA Impact has learned anything from their past mistakes, is that you need to start promoting these young guys. So, well, he's young, well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Next, we have Jonathan Grisham against Will Ferreira. Grisham continues to build momentum. He wins this match again. Definitely see him in a title match pretty soon, sooner than you think. We see ABC losing to Speedball Mountain. I love Speedball Mountain, especially as honorary new members of the Hardy family. Um, I like this win. I like this win. Building up momentum. Those building blocks in terms of wrestling, in terms of momentum, it really honestly does go a long way. So honestly, you got to do what you got to do. Speedball Mountain, I've watched their matches. I've seen clips on, Twitter/X, and they're the real deal. They're the real deal. Definitely, I would have loved to see them beat the Undisputed Kingdom. Obviously, that's didn't really happen. So, all right. So that was my Thursday night a wrestling review. Hope you guys liked it. We're gonna move on to our WWE SmackDown preview, which is airing as we speak. Swear to God, I have not checked up any content. I'm going in blind here, guys. So a lot of these things that I'm probably gonna say, it could be correct, or it could absolutely seem just like weird and like it's like, dude, does this guy really say that? Like, dude, like, but ultimately, just stick with me and we'll get through it. So hey, don't go anywhere.